I didn't even know that it was as bad and scary as it was. They were trying to keep me calm. My heart rate was really low. Then her heart rate was dripping. They're pumping me with magnesium. She comes out, as they call her, a mag baby. She's not crying. It was just very traumatizing. Then I'm put straight into a high-risk ICU room where I have...
Can I just jump in there real quick? Because you're saying this in front of a woman that's pregnant right now.
She's had a baby.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I was like,
no.
The hospital was so good. The hospital did a really good job while we were going through while we were dealing with this. We didn't know any of this was going on. The hospital handled it so well. They just were working around the room. And it wasn't until after baby came and we were in the next day, they were like, hey, just so you know, this is what actually happened. So I don't want you to be like, it was horrific to go through, but just know that the hospital did such an amazing job getting us through that.
I actually asked her because I told her as a viewer, I feel like Vanderpump Rules washed over the fact that she almost died. It was like kind of like...
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
No,
you're not
I
to listen.
I asked her.
I didn't just say, hey, guess what?
I just
shit got bad.
As a mother, and I think there's a lot of mothers that will probably watch the show, it was like, are we not going to talk about the fact that you literally almost died? And also the fact that your baby came out not crying. I mean, I cannot imagine that. That's so much cortisol.
No, it was literally traumatizing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so then it's like I'm in the hospital in the high-risk ICU. We have round-the-clock nurses, like every 30 minutes, every hour. Like, I mean, they're checking on me constantly. And then they're bringing her from the nursery in to breastfeed every 2-3 hours on the dot. I'm not really sleeping. I'm just like, there was so much going on. I didn't get out of bed for 3 days. I had a catheter. It was just like so much. And then finally, my liver enzymes and my blood platelets were leveling to the right way that they were able to release me like 5-6 days later. And I get home. And what?
Nothing.
Oh. I get home and now, I mean, thankfully we had my mom stay with us for that first week to just help out. But I'm like, now I'm going from round the clock nurses to just, here's a baby, you're at home, you're on this blood pressure medication, you're not yourself. I am dealing with body image issues like crazy, knowing that there's about to be cameras in my face. And it's like, it was a lot. And you don't see any any of that. It was like it didn't.
Let me tell you
at
guys.
the end of the season. You hear it at the end.
In the reunion.
Yeah,
So when you
kind
guys,
of. Not,
when you guys think about the way that you're portrayed on the show, are you happy with the portrayal? Are you subpar? Like, how do you feel about it?
It's frustrating, to be honest, because, but I understand when you're part of an ensemble cast, you can't tell everyone's individual full story. There's too many people. There's too much going on. There's too much story to tell. I understand that, and that is what I signed up for. That's why I love having podcasts, having YouTube, to be able to tell the full story. But
I tell everyone in your particular position, meaning people that do television where there's production, that is one of the most powerful reasons to have something like this.
Yeah.
Because you control your narrative.
Absolutely.
Right? So like they can say, or they can portray something and you can address it right away as opposed to waiting for a tabloid to fill in for you.
Yeah, or 6 months for it to air and then seeing, the way that it's shown when it's not really the full story. So yeah, when we're watching back the first episode and I see we're just talking about my birthday party, I'm like, because who thought that was the most important thing to talk about in the first 5 minutes when there was a whole conversation about how I almost just died, and it was traumatizing. I mean, it honestly has made me pretty sure that I don't think I ever want to get pregnant again because I'm at high risk for that to happen. So now, I mean, we're not ready anytime soon anyways, but we talk adoption, we talk surrogacy, like those are way more likely than let's try to have another baby the natural way. It was really scary.
is there any warning signs that led up to this that you saw, or was it just one day you didn't feel good?
So I had the best pregnancy. We're 15 hours into labor and I'm like, I see why people do this multiple times. It's not that bad, like this is why women carry the babies, because we can handle it. So I was completely fine. I didn't throw up a single day in my entire pregnancy. It was great. And then once they realized my blood pressure was high, my heart rate was dropping and all of that, then that's when it got scary. And it turned into preeclampsia when I was in labor. And then postpartum, it turned into HELLP syndrome, which is an extremely rare condition in itself and even more rare to get diagnosed with it postpartum. So then my doctor's thinking, like, what did we miss? And the week of, at my 40-week appointment, there was protein in my urine and my blood pressure was really high. But we just chalked that up to the protein smoothie I had for breakfast and the fact that I'm 40 weeks filming a television show in 10 days, the baby still hasn't come. I'm freaking out.
Weeks. You were filming at 40
No, we were getting ready.
We're
10
ready
days
Wait,
later.
Sheana, you were, I didn't realize that. 10 days afterwards.
Yeah, we know what day filming starts. We know what day I'm due. There's 10 days in between for me to have this baby.
Hold on. Could you not tell the production, like, this is a lot? I need some space?
No, we had just been off for almost 2 years.
I think Sheana was very like intimidated on like superiority. Like when there's a police officer in there or with authority over her, she freaks out.
I'm a
so
rule
she
follower.
Will follow
I
it.
do my
we're
job.
Filming? Boom. She won't say, "Hey, listen,
I
for
need some
my own
time.
health, I need this." She would troop it on, and she said, "No, let's do this."
Speaking of filming, I got to talk to you for a second, Brock, here, because I met you with David Meltzer when he came in.
Yeah.
And it was right before, I think, either before you were filming or while you were getting ready.
I think it was before.
I think it was right before, yeah.
So he was like, "Yeah, I think I'm about to do this thing." I don't know what he was about. Like, okay.
I have no idea what he was getting
Now
himself into.
post, how you feeling, brother? How you doing?
But you know what? I'm thriving. I'm happy where we are, and there's worse things I could do, you know. And the opportunity I got to have was be at home with my daughter this time, and like we got to have these amazing experiences. So if it comes to like my background and that being brought up, I just chalk it down to, you know, you're going to meet who I am, and my past is what makes me who I am. And was I upset how it came out on camera? Yeah, but at the same time, no, because you know what? Now you know who I am.
It forced him to be accountable and to, deal with some things like child support, which recently was paid off in full. Just want to say that. But, you know, some things that he may have put off and just kept making the small payments and just doing the minimum.
Doing the minimum instead of really just because I was more embarrassed about my past than anything else. And so it forced that.
But
so
here's
when you
something
talk about things,
listen,
you take the air out of it.
Regardless, and I'm not here to crucify or
Exactly.
even pass judgment, but I think what I am here to point out is that, and I always do this when I talk to people like yourselves, like people don't understand. I mean, it's an interesting experiment to go through to put your life on that kind of platform out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the difference. Lauren and I do this and we control this. And it's like, it comes out how we want it to come out when we want it to come out. And like, there's nobody in our ear saying, "Hey, we're going to cut this or change this," or like, we're basically, what you hear right now is what you're going to hear later when it's no like special editing. I don't think people think about like when you give your life up to a platform like this, you have a different type of person judging you, right? It's almost like voyeuristic, and it's a different type. Like the audience members that chime in on you guys, maybe a lot of them listen to this, but the way that they scrutinize reality personnel is completely different than just a regular, like, you know, somebody that's creating content on the internet. How have you navigated that since you've joined? Because it's a different, like I said, you kind of from obscurity to here's the world watching.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I still have figured out how to do that, but I just figured out, I know that I'm comfortable in my own shoes. I know my past, I know my present, I know where I want to go. I know that, and that's my truth. And then so all I just took on, I just went and said, I'm going to do the best for my partner. She's never had somebody as a lead role with her, support her through this. And it started off as I was just her plus one. You have to film, it's her reality, her world. And as the season started, kept going, production's like, "Hey, we want you to do more." I was like, "Okay, perfect. I'm going to do my best." And then it leads to another season, hopefully, and then another opportunity. So that's all I took it as. And, you know, I think for me to get through the season, I just took that filter that I have, be aware of that filter, and then remind myself, like, whatever I say is true. Because if I say it or I say it out loud to anybody on this, it's going to be recorded. It's truth. So just make sure I'm aware of that and know that I have to be responsible for my words. And that's how I took the season. And then, you know, it definitely didn't make me out to be a knight in shining armor. And I think there's like a thing going around Instagram right now with all the men of the show, and they're like, "Who would you marry, sleep with, and knock off?" And I'm getting killed every single time.
Everyone's killing you?
Everyone's knocking me off.
I'm not killing you. I found you to be warm and endearing, and everyone that's judging too, it's like, let's see your perfection.
Well, that's
everyone
that's
has made mistakes. There's something that's warm to me about people that come on a platform like that and own up to it and talk about it. No one is perfect. Like this, it seems sometimes like the people's court think they're perfect.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I can't get over something. I gained 55 pounds.
So did I.
It was rough.
Exactly 55.
If you told me, "Lauren, you have to go film a show 10 days after you gave birth," I at the point where I was at, and I've done work on myself since then, I would have lost my fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
Were you freaking out?
I feel like I was just in such a daze, honestly. Like I knew that I had 2 jobs, to be a mom and keep this baby alive and film a television show at the same time, because that's what provides the income for my baby. So
there's no choice, and you're just like, I'm going to wear the most flattering thing I can wear and just go for it and show a real postpartum situation.
I mean, I did get every shapewear on the planet. I had Skims, I had like all of that, just so I felt more comfortable. But I also was like, you know what? This is my reality, and I agreed to film a reality show. So although I did wear the shapewear because I felt more comfortable just being more tucked in, having so much extra loose skin on my stomach, I was like, you know what? I'm a size large now. I'm usually an extra small, and right now I'm a large, and then I'll be a medium and a small, and hopefully get back to the extra small. But at the time, I just knew this is what it is, and this is something that a lot of women are going to be able to relate to. Like, no offense to Lala, but girl snapped back the next day. That's not normal. So for me, I was like, I can at least tell a normal story and people will be able to relate. And if anyone tries to judge me for that or say I shouldn't be wearing that, like, you're an asshole. And I did get some of those.
Speaking of Lala, I wonder about this. This is kind of about Lala. I think I would lose my shit, especially knowing you a little bit. I would lose my shit if the world was chiming in on my relationship, let alone people I'm on a show with. Like, if people were chirping in to me about my relationship on a show, I think I'd be kicked off the show and be going to jail.
Yeah.
I wonder how you guys dealt with that and the strain it put on the relationship while you're on a show. The world's chiming in. People, like I mentioned, Lala is chiming in. Like, how did you guys both deal with that and stay in a solid relationship? They've broken a lot of people up.
It was also hard because I was trying to work on my friendship with her. So then that's hard for us because he's like, how are you being friends with this person who's trying to destroy me? But I'm like, but I just have a separate relationship with her. And like, I'm trying to fix this, but I'm trying to not fight with you. And so, I mean, God, how did we do it?
How much of that is destroying you because it's for the show versus destroying because like she actually wants
Well, just because I'm a person, like whoever I'm dating, as we've seen on the past in the show, like I will defend them to the death. Whereas Brock is like, you don't have to like have my back. I can stand up for myself. So I took that, I think, maybe too literal. And I'm like, all right, well, if I don't need to fight your battles, then I'm going to work on this friendship, because she was the only person on the entire show who also had had a baby just in general, but so recently. So we're both breastfeeding. We both have babies we need to get home to. We can only be gone for so many hours before our boobs are literally screaming. Like, we just found comfort in each other because no one else understood what we were going through. So I just was really gravitating towards her. But then at the same time, she's doing her job so well that she's really coming for him. And I'm like, dude, so it was kind of like mid-season. I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm trying so hard, but I can't pick you over him. So it was definitely tough, but
I also think there's another element to it, though, too. You said you weren't fighting his battles because he said you couldn't. You're also so men
so
don't
hormonal.
realize you're so drained postpartum. You don't have the capacity to even fucking deal. Like you can only do what you can do. And so to have to also defend him and take care of it's just a lot.
Yeah. And
I feel like to defend me, you don't need, I get the defense part, but like in time, it's going to come. I'm new to the stage. Everyone's going to talk about it and have that. You can only judge somebody once she's slowly, if I keep doing the same stuff, then cool, go for it, you know? So that, I know that to the core. So I feel like when I say to Sheana, like, she's done an amazing job being a mum, you know? Everything about it, she's still breast pumping, everything about, like, she's done it all properly. She was worried every single along the way. She had doubts in herself the whole way through it. So I was kind of like, I don't have doubts on who I am or what we are in our relationship.
It's just a lot of
what got us through
ifs.
that, bro, was just that. The fact that we survived the pandemic together.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that's hard. Let me ask a delicate question here, because there's obviously a lot of known parties here. I also think it's relevant when you're getting criticism or advice. I think it's important to think about where that's coming from, right? Like, there's people in my life that I seek advice from or seek criticism from.
Correct.
Based on what I'm doing. If you're getting that advice or criticism from people, and maybe I'm going to be careful here, the foundation of that house isn't as solid as people had thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think how are you taking that without kind of blowing up that world?
Well, I kind of already had my piece in that moment when it came out and all that stuff. I kind of was kind of like, you know, I had the same excuse about. I was kind of like open about it publicly. I was like, well, there you go, you know, keep your house in order. But at the same time, then I needed to be better. And that was an opportunity for me to be, you know what? I understand. And I should have acted differently. I acted like a 12-year-old, and I went at her on the reunion. Didn't age well, and it showed me who I was, but I was hurt. I think since then, we've had some time down, and the girls are working on their relationship with the kids and all that. And Lala, honestly, what she has done now, I respect her so much more, because before that, it wasn't the fact I had respect for that situation of who Lala was. Now, looking at what she's been doing, she left the money, she left all the, and she's doing it herself. I respect that more. And 100%, if I had that light right now, I would reframe to that and be like, look, I get where you're coming from. I'll listen to your advice. But then I didn't want to listen to your advice because... Well,
that's what I'm saying, because maybe the advice, it's hard to take advice. Like if I'll just use a stupid example. If I'm telling somebody how to run a business, I'm a terrible businessman. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll just use that example. So I imagine it's hard because you're sitting there filming a show and you're like...
I think it was just
she's
more...
She's just on her high horse judging us.
It was just
when,
more hard
fact,
because it was true. I think was the hardest part for me. Like the things she was saying was true, but it was
just frustrating because yes, it was true about his past, but it's not true of who he is now as a person and who he is now as a father to Summer. So that was what was so hard for me, is because was he the best partner and father in the past? Absolutely not. But he's trying to be that now, and he's trying to right those wrongs. And so for her to not understand that at all was so frustrating for me, because I'm like, but that's not who he is now. You know, he was 19 in this last relationship, 21 when he had kids. So he was just in such a different place.
And when we even met, like that's always been my goal, is to make up that relationship. So before we even picked up filming, before we even knew about Vanderpump Rules and being on the show, like I was already trying, as of 2018, once I finally opened up my business and I finally got something underneath me, I knew I could make that turn to be like, no, I am a better person. Like, let me work on that. And I've been working on that relationship. The show definitely just put fire onto that.
They just fast-tracked everything.
I put fire onto it on both sides. Like, it really made it a lot more difficult, because now we have a platform, and then my ex doesn't like to see that.
Yeah, we were asked to respect their privacy and not speak about this publicly. And then it's like, well, someone else is bringing it up on the show, so we kind of have to address it.
Yeah.
What about another misconception about you guys? I feel like there was also a little bit of disjointedness with you guys going to get engaged or married at James's wedding.
Oh my God. That was so annoying. It was... I'll let you take this one.
Look, the reality is we didn't know if the show was coming back, period.
We still don't. We never do.
Still don't. Every
coming
season.
Back. You guys, let me tell you. Well, it's coming back.
but
I have questions.
Last season, we didn't, I didn't know what was going on. And this was the one time I really took advice from somebody in the show, which was Ariana. And I love her still. But she's like, don't quit on this. Because during the season, I was like, I got a cool idea. And I spoke to production. I'm like, Sheena's been married, engaged before on the show. Like, you've got to be creative. I was like, I got a creative thing. I want to have a movie premiere night. And then the movie premiere itself is going to be me and Sheena's kind of love story from YouTube. We've recorded it. And it will be our love story highlight. And then I would propose to her. And then we turn it into a shotgun wedding because everyone's dressed up. And it would just be short and simple. She's been married, I've been married, whatever. Have fun with it. Because I thought that's what I wanted to do on the show, so she could have that fairy story. What is the word?
Fairy tale.
Fairy tale ending.
Fairy book story. Yeah.
Turned into a freaking nightmare, because once I got onto that, and then that, because of COVID, we couldn't film that. Then they're like,
and permits, like people forget about permits. You got to pull permits for everywhere you film. We can't just say we're going to the beach tomorrow.
So it didn't really work out too well. And then I was like, I'm not going to handle.
You're telling me that you guys don't just gallivant around and show up and there's cameras waiting?
People think that.
Right.
They really think that. They're like, well, why couldn't you just do it at the beach? I'm like, because you have to get a permit. You can't just go and film in Malibu tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like some permits for certain cities take weeks to apply for. So he was working with what he had, and we only filmed. It was the shortest season we filmed since like season 2.
Don't you dare break the fourth wall for me.
Yeah. No, I literally, I was like, I would like to do
we didn't
this.
have that much time.
Booked. But they're like, we're all booked out except for this one weekend in the morning. You could do something. I was like, okay, we'll do that then. But as we got up there, we weren't even allowed off site because of COVID rules and that. We needed to be on permitting. We needed to be on location. So
so once we realized that it was at Sunstone, I was like, we're not.
I was so okay with it, because here's my theory on it. I'll take a bullet for her. Everyone else can kick rocks. And that was literally the mindset I had. I didn't know if the show was coming back. I wanted to do this for her. And if you want to have a problem, I'll take the bullet.
But it was not what I wanted. I was like, first of all, I wanted his family to be there for that moment. If he would have done the surprise shotgun wedding thing, I mean, I had no say in that because I didn't know it was happening. But then when it got changed to, oh, maybe we do this in Solvang, my sister wasn't able to be there. And I was like, I would really want my sister there. And then I was like, also, your family can't be there. But, you know, if we just do something small and private, no one finds out about it until they watch the episodes and like for the reunion, then we can still do our like big wedding with your family, like back in Bali, Australia, New Zealand, something like that. So I was like, okay, I'm down. And then when we found out, oh no, it has to be at Sunstone where everyone else is staying, I was like, oh, so we just have James and Raquel come out on their terrace and see a wedding going on and then realize that's Brock and Scheana? No.
Wait, sounds like the producers were sticking their fingers around in this one.
Well, especially when it comes down to like a timeline and how can you get it done? They're like, this is the only time you can get. So they
knew,
and I'm not saying the show's scripted because it's not. It's 100% real. But what the producers get to see is they have everyone's conversations and they
mesh it together.
They know what's going on, so they can really dive into a storyline and they just follow it like that. And so it's not scripted. We just get leaned into those situations.
James was harsh.
James,
oh yeah.
You know what? I'm surprised at the end. Like that was because you guys missed 2 days of him arguing with everybody beforehand. Because of
that morning, from what I've heard, he was an absolute nightmare. So I think he got all of his rage out that morning, thinking his engagement party was going to get canceled.
Raquel
that he had no rage, maybe left. I mean, she should have just, in the middle of her speech when she was out there, just been like, you know, his accent and this and that. And then, you know what, actually, I realized
wedding's off.
I don't want to marry you.
Now that they're broken up, does that affect the group?
Yes.
Yes.
There's a dynamic in there because you can't pick James or Raquel.
That we're picking Raquel over James because Raquel's actually living with us right now in our LA apartment. We're down in San Diego full time. She's here at our place in LA.
Oh, that's the Meltzer connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he feels that we've automatically taken her side. And I'm like, well, first of all, James, like you got back on your feet right away. You had a new apartment lined up and like you were good to go. If it was the other way around and Raquel already had everything good to go and you were struggling and you needed a place to stay, I would have offered you the exact same thing because we're down in San Diego. The apartment, we're just paying for it. It's empty. I wouldn't have only offered that to Raquel. So like you're feeling we picked her side because she's living with us right now, but that's not the case.
But James wasn't exactly butterflies to Brock either, though. I mean, that he was hard on you.
Here's the thing. Sorry, I'm not to cut you off, but he was hard on him because he was hurt, and that's where I can understand that because James felt like him and Brock were establishing a really good friendship. They were hanging out, working out together all the time,
doing ice baths.
I was trying to help him. I'm like, hey,
but also, James and Raquel were two of the only people out of all of our friends who made the effort to go to Palm Springs to visit us in the pandemic, to drive down to San Diego, spend time with us. They were two of the only people who did that. So then when filming starts up and now we're back in LA and he's getting close with Sandoval again, close with Schwartz again, James just felt like, well, what about me? Like, I thought we had this friendship that we've been building. So he was hurt. So I understand that James has a really shitty way of expressing how he's truly feeling, but that's where it came from, was he was just hurt.
Let me ask you guys this. Lauren and I do this show together, as you see. And like sometimes you do a show, like high five, that was a good one. Sometimes you're like, that was not so good. When you guys have a poor day of filming or something where you're like, oh fuck, that was like, we didn't mean to say that, I didn't want to do that, and you know it's in the hand, like what is the conversation that takes place after?
There's no conversation.
It goes in my head over and over. I lose sleep. Like I just replay it over. Oh, I should have said this. I shouldn't have said that. And seasons ago, I would just smoke some weed and forget about it, but I don't have that luxury anymore. Sure. So now it just goes through my head.
But I imagine
they have the professionals.
But I imagine that's a source of anxiety, especially in a relationship.
Professionals are hard.
Why?
Because, this is me. You're a pro. I'm
really good at
bad at all of this, right? You're
a veteran at this point.
I enjoy the live component. You just put a camera on us and we'll live our best life. But then you have to go in 3 months later and now pin together the storyline for people. It's not on the day, like not that week you go have a confessional.
It's not like The Bachelor when they pull you out of your group date and
that would be easy because you'll get better content if they did that because people will be pissed. They'll be really emotional. But what happens is now they've put the storyline together. Then you have to go in and fill in the gaps in these interviews. And so they're like, hey, remember this time, and you remember it. you remember what you said, but now they're like, yeah, we want you to respond to that. For me, that was very difficult.
Because it's not fresh.
Because it's not fresh. That's not my makeup.
I
I'm a
thrive in
farmer boy
interviews.
and
I
a plumber.
them.
Like I didn't think I was going to sit in front of a camera and tell them how I feel.
I think it's also strange there is you got like probably like if it's 3 months later, the relationship has also changed.
It's different.
Exactly. And that was what was hard for me, especially with Lala.
Because you're in a better place.
We've come
better
so
place,
far.
and then we go back.
But then
I see the shit she says.
Yeah, and then the finale happened
more.
where her and I get in a huge explosive fight, and then we ended up leaving together that day. And Charlie was like, I don't understand how you got in a car and left with her after that fight you got. And I was like, well, she was my sober driver and I wasn't sober. So I still needed a ride home that night. And then we ended up talking. I was like, look, I understand why you did what you did. I understand why you told James. You know, we all have a job to do. You were doing your job. I can get past it. But like, let's not do that to each other anymore. And we've gotten through so much and we're in such a good place. But then, 3 months later, I still have that interview where I'm like, I'm done with her.
That seems like that would cause fights off air.
Yeah, hence his reaction to the end of the season at the reunion.
Then 3 months later, we've aired
because
it and
we
I go
were
reunion.
so good. And Lala came over to our house and she explained everything that was going on in her relationship and was just looking to us as a support system to be there for her. And then a couple weeks later, we filmed the reunion. He's just coming at her and she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whiplash.
This is way different energy than you were putting off at your house 2 weeks ago.
This is not like normal life.
No.
So there's no like textbok on how to handle this.
No, this is nothing normal about our life.
I mean, it's cool. It's just not normal.
I mean, lesson learned. I'm not going to like binge the last 5 episodes.
Well, no, we have to.
2 days before the reunion
But
and
that's
just
when they
sit
get
there
sent to us.
and steam up on it. Like
No,
I'm telling
we
you,
were
if she was in person, I would have
steaming.
I would have done so much. I had so many things in my head. If she was in
It was
person
good
and
she
gave me
was
some
on
feet,
Zoom.
I was trying to argue with someone on a TV.
Yeah, that's
She
true.
didn't come across too well.
So Lisa Vanderpump, what is the relationship to her now? Is everything smoothed over? Are you guys good? You guys kind of got into it on the show, I felt like.
I mean, I felt like Lisa gave me her respect. After that, she was like, I don't approve of what you've done, but thank you for speaking to me honestly. And then I since then, we've always had a respect for each other. I even called her up the other day because I'm trying to do some events out here in LA and I wanted to get her feedback. So I think my role with Lisa is just kind of like, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that as a family and what she's done for Sheana and all that. And that's me and Ken get along like a house on fire. I run into him at Tom and we buy a beer together and we sit down and he gives me shit and I give him shit back. He's fun. And Lisa kind of like just checks in and keeps everyone on the toes.
Yeah, Lisa's someone I have so much respect for and I look up to so much. She's like the second mom who you want her approval. When you're dating someone, like you need your mom's approval. Otherwise, it's going to be frustrating. So I was very nervous that now Lisa has this skewed perception of who he is based on what Lala has brought up at a tea party. So I was really nervous about that because I'm like, I know my past. I always say, this is the one. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I've never been happier in my entire life. And they've heard this time and time again on the show. So when it comes to my actual forever and happiness, I'm like, no one's going to believe me. They're just going to think I'm full of shit. Like Sheana says this about everyone.
I've watched
Thank
the
you.
show from the beginning. I believed you. It was different. It was different.
Because
Brock was
he's
different.
my person.
Yeah. And I think also that with the other ones, I feel like they also edited like looks and
100%. Because when I looked back, Rob and I are friends again now, but when I watched that season back when I was heartbroken, it was just like more just like knives in the back.
They
I don't know.
almost like play into like the cringe.
Yeah, because I'm like
they pull.
I don't remember the relationship like that. Was it really like that? And he's like, no. He's like, because now we've had these conversations. And he was like, Sheana, I was so uncomfortable on camera. Like I just closed off and I wasn't the way I was, in private with you. And I'm like, yeah, because when I watched it back, I'm like, shit, that guy really didn't love me.
Yeah, but honey, it's not easy to, like, in Rob's defense, he hung a TV in 7 minutes, but like, and it's hard to walk into that room.
What else could he do in 7 minutes?
Nothing. That was about it.
I would not, I know this about myself. I would struggle doing what you did, going into an established group on an established show out of nowhere, putting your, like, and again, you're talking to somebody who's very comfortable voicing, being out there, but that is a difficult situation that I don't think people can appreciate unless they're in it.
Yeah, it was intimidating, I'll tell you that. But then I think the fun part about it was we had these cool things. We went to Coachella when the thing was shut down. I was just like, this is an opportunity. This is great. And so that's the fun part.
And it provides so many opportunities outside of filming,
Sure.
you know? So it's like, yeah, there's some shit we have to go through, but at the end of the day, like it is ultimately so worth it to me because we are so blessed, you know? I was just saying on my podcast earlier, we get to live in 3 different cities, you know? Like we are so very fortunate and these opportunities have all come from the show. So if I have to, you know, deal with some shit and get yelled at a tea party to live the life that we live, then, you know, so be it. I understand
well, you're gonna yell
that
back
this
next
show,
season.
I absolutely will be clapping back more next season because it got my mojo back.
Yeah, you don't feel postpartum. You don't have a piece of fog in front of your face.
No, and
people don't realize postpartum.
No.
I didn't even get it until after we watched it. I started watching. I was like, wait, what?
No,
I didn't see the transformation.
It feels like there's a piece of fog over your eyes and you can't see straight and you can't snap out of it.
I wanted to just reach through the TV and shake myself when I'm sitting down with Charlie at Tom Tom and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're right. I'll be better. I'm sorry. I wasn't a good friend. Like and I'm like, Scheana, shut up. You just had a baby. You just almost died. Like, oh my God, why are you apologizing?
I can't with high maintenance friends. Sorry, I can't. You're like, I can't. That's a whole different podcast.
That's a podcast right there itself. High maintenance.
I want to know what you guys have learned watching yourselves back because there's some kind of self-awareness in all of this.
Sure.
When you watch yourself back and you're like, oh my God, besides what you just said, like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Am I really like that? Because that's a trip too.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned that I do need to be just more open about my feelings and I need to not always apologize for everything, but at the same time own up to everything. And I feel like that's why I apologize so much now is because in the past, I've watched me just try to make excuses and crawl out of a hole without like using my words that now I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I fucked up. I'm sorry. But now I've gotten so good at the apologizing that I'm not really even saying how I feel. So after watching this season back, I'm like, I should have asked more questions. Like, why am I not being a good friend, Charlie? What exactly have I done? Because once I finally asked her that off camera, she was like, well, you just like, you know, you weren't around as much. I'm like, cause I had a baby. There was not one specific thing where she's like, well, you know what? On Monday when you said this and that, like that really hurt me. She had no direct examples. It was just that she was jealous. I was rebuilding my friendship with Lala because she felt like I liked Lala more than her. She said her and her boyfriend sat at home and said, do Sheana and Brock like Randall and Lala more than us now? So that's where it came from. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Guys, I would take a dull knife and jab it into my jugular if I had to go through something like that. I don't know how, high maintenance, I mean, again, it's another podcast, but you know, people are living their lives. You can't, like, it's not that serious.
If I have a friend, let me just put this out there, a little side note. If I have a friend that expects a text message back within the hour, I can't. I cannot deliver that. The expectation up front, I cannot. Sometimes it takes me a week to get back to someone. It's nothing against them. It's that you have to be able to live your life in the present. And if you're just sitting there returning every single thing, you're not even like... And people that don't understand that, I'm just like, I feel like they need to get busy.
Yeah. And with Charlie, she's a decade younger than me. You know, she hasn't been through, and I hope she never goes through a miscarriage. You know, having the baby, the postpartum and all of that. I'm like, we are in such different places, but I'm still trying to be your friend and like your big sis and like have a good summer with you.
The
but
show
you have
also
to
doesn't
understand.
help. You know, being in that show, like being on a show, you have to have a problem. Like you have to voice an opinion. You know?
Yeah, but it didn't have to be with me.
But that's
Her issues were with Lala, not with me.
But maybe what it is that they look almost for the weakest link. And I'm not saying you're weak. No, I'm just saying at that moment.
But I'm the nicest.
But you were also postpartum. And you're in a weakened state.
100%.
She's always been taken advantage of on that show.
Always.
I haven't gone back and watched it, but like,
oh my God,
I see how people, I mean, I see how how she feels when production calls her phone. I literally had to talk to production. I was like, look,
oh my God, my blood pressure is through the roof when I see his name on my phone.
Every time you call, I told him up. I was like, every time you call her, she freaks out.
Because it's always bad news.
So do me a favor. Call her up and let her know she's done a good season this season. Like do something to build that relationship up. Otherwise,
you feel like you're the show's punching bag at times.
Yeah.
She allows it.
Because
But she was also pregnant with me for this season.
I allow it, I think, because I am so strong that I can take it. And I don't think some of these girls that come off so tough and strong are actually that way. I think it's a front and they can't actually take it. And that's why I just take the beating, because I'm like, I'm going to be okay. If this happened to you, you wouldn't be okay.
Well, let's put it out there in the ether that this next season that I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
That you're not the punching bag.
No, I'm not, because I'm just so done with that. Like I came into the reunion just like guns blazing, ready to go. And now, I mean, I feel like me again. I genuinely feel like the best version of myself. And that wasn't last year.
Before everything you dealt with your pregnancy, you just mentioned it. You had a miscarriage and you froze your eggs. That's, first of all, that's a lot of hormones.
Yeah.
How was that, going through that in front of everyone? Because you went through it kind of on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, and then I had froze my eggs the season before. So I was also that past season.
So you froze your eggs first.
Yeah, I froze my eggs twice. And then I was getting ready to do a third round. And we were just we were talking about maybe just freezing embryos. And that's when I found out I was pregnant the first time, because I missed my period and I was waiting for my period. So you have to go in and get that first test done when you're on your period. And I was like, I'm a couple days late. This is weird.
And were you filming at the time?
No, we thought we were going to be ready to start filming at any moment, but that was like May 2020. And we thought things were going to start opening back up, would probably be filming by June. And then, a whole other year passed.
You were so open, though. I think that probably, normalized it.
Yeah.
Not normalized it, but it talked about a taboo that we don't get to talk about a lot. And you also shared exactly how you were feeling.
Yeah. And he was against that in the beginning.
It was.
Because I said, this miscarriage, I said, I do weekly podcasts and weekly vlogs. I cannot continue with my weekly life, just put a smile on my face and act like the most devastating thing in my life didn't just happen. Like, I have to talk about this. I have to address it, even if it's just one podcast and one vlog and then we go back. But I cannot go through life not addressing this. And I said, so I, at that point, honestly didn't care if he broke up with me. I was going to tell my story publicly because I knew he would understand one day. But I'm like, this isn't a discussion. I'm doing this because I have chosen a public life. And I know by telling this story, it's going to help even one person. If it's just one person that they say, wow, now I don't feel so alone. And it helped thousands. I got so many messages and he saw that and realized, okay, I get
I think
why
that was the
he did
first
this.
kind of exposure I had to what her platform can do.
Yeah.
Because before that, we met in San Diego, the world shut down. I didn't really kind of understand the world that she lived in. Now I kind of have a full grasp of it. But at that point in time, I was like, look, honey, that's something I didn't even talk to my mom. My mom found out through the papers.
She found out because she listened to my podcast.
Oh, there you go.
That was how his mom found out.
Because
he
that was
wouldn't
how
let
I
me
was
tell
processing. Well, I was also dealing with our miscarriage my way as well.
I know.
So,
but you knew the podcast was coming out Friday, and then Australia time, they're a whole day ahead of us. And at 4 a.m. when my podcast came out, his mom listened to it as she did every week, and that's how she found out.
Well, this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, and I think listen, people on the I'm big on talking about being kind to people on the internet. And listen, I'm critical of people, but I pride Lauren and I's platform to be in a position where we're never tearing anybody down. I try to lift people up. And I remind people when it comes to what you guys do, that at the end of the day, you're both humans and you've chosen to put yourself on a public platform that many people get entertainment and enjoyment and relief out of.
Down.
But there is a kind of violent, visceral side of people that's cruel on the internet. It's where they forget that there's two humans at the other end of that screen. And listen, you might, you and Lala get in a fight or you and whoever get in a fight. It's not the biggest deal in the world. There's other things going on. People can allow a little bit of grace and still be excited and enthusiastic about the show. But remember, there's humans involved here.
It sounds like though, when you talked about your miscarriage, that people were not going at you. It sounds like. It doesn't sound like they were being mean.
They weren't, but I also did feel that certain people were judging. How could she get pregnant only being with this guy for 6 months? She doesn't know him.
Oh my God!
Even
can't win.
Even I
well,
remember.
Listen, look at him. I could see how it could happen.
Yeah,
What a stud.
Or do you want to get pregnant with him right now?
Let's go, baby.
But I even remember when Lisa was on Watch What Happens Live and they asked whose pregnancy were you most surprised about? And she's like, well, Sheana, they've barely started dating and now she's pregnant. And I'm like, why does it matter if we've been together a month or 10 years? Like, I do know this is my person. I understand I've said that before.
We also need to highlight the fact that, like, you did do 2 years of, like, preparing to try and have a kid because you didn't know if you actually could.
Yeah.
And that's that. And so when we found out that she was pregnant, not going to lie, we're like, wait. What? And then we had the miscarriage, and then that was like a conversation to actually have at that point. It's like, I'm from my ex. I have my relationship with my past kids. And I'm like, that was a tough one for me. And I went golfing, and it turned into a whole story because I went golfing, whatever.
But also, we just had someone on our podcast that was talking about meditation. This is a little tangent. And he said that when you meditate and you go inward and you have self-reflection, it doesn't have to be just closing your eyes in a room. Golfing, he actually brought that up, is a meditation. Surfing's a meditation. Walking on the beach. Maybe that's the way that you were meditating through the process and processing it. I just think that everyone needs to just see other people's shoes before they pass judgment right away. It's like, take a little time to, like, just think how you would feel and what you would do. Maybe golfing's your way of dealing with things.
And I understood that shortly after. I had just already vented to Lala. And so then she took that and was like, well, Brock should have been there for her, and he was out golfing. And it came across as if I was actively miscarrying, bleeding out at home, and he left and said, I'm going to go do the back nine. Birdies. You know, and it wasn't that at all. We found out we were having a miscarriage. The doctor said, we'll give you a week to see if you can naturally pass it. If not, then we'll do the DNC procedure. So it was this in-between time when he was coming back to Palm Springs to spend the night with me to only turn around and drive back to San Diego to be at the gym first thing the next morning. He was still driving up to be there for me. He just was late, and I was freaking out that he wasn't going to be there at the time. He said he was going to be there. But once he explained that that was what he needed to do to deal with it on his own, I understood that. But then me trying to explain that to Lala was just making an excuse.
I think, like, the best lesson to learn from reality, and this is me in my young years of it, is just like, there's always going to be an opinion about it, no matter. And then as you grow, there's going to be more opinions, and so that's that. You know,
you sure do build mental toughness, huh?
You have to. I feel like you have to. For me, I've never cared because I've never had to deal with it. The pressure this season was a little bit. And I think halfway through it, when I realized, like, this is still going to get talked about, when I left the room, storming out of the filming, I was like, you guys didn't pay me for this. See you later, bro.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about the money. It was just about the respect out of all of it. And that's what happened this season. Like, at the end of it, I was like, look, you know what? You were going to give me, like, a little bit of, keep your money. I don't care about that. You want to talk to us next season? Talk to me.
Oh, I like a negotiator.
Well, I was just like, look, I honestly, like, we had a good opportunity to do it, and that was how I felt like going into that next season. If we get another season, I'd love to talk to you guys about how to make money from this, because fuck, that was hard. I bled.
Yeah, you did bleed. There's a lot of women that are listening to this show. What was the process like of freezing your eggs twice? Was it in a row?
No, so it was in January and then again in June.
Was it with Dr. Gadir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
shout out Dr. Gadir.
Yes.
We've had him on our podcast twice. We love him. So what was the process gnarlier than you thought, or was it less gnarly? Is it something that you would recommend to people? Like, what was your experience?
So this is something I also got shit for, because I said it was painless and easy, because for me, it honestly was. That's why I did it again, and I was getting ready to do it again. I'm like, I could just keep doing this to make sure I get enough eggs or embryos, you know, once I had the right person to fertilize them. Because for me, I think it's also a big mental thing. I mean, also, if you have a fear of needles, then that could be something that is just next level. But for me, I have been injecting needles in my face for over a decade. I have 27 tattoos. Well, I haven't for 2 years. But the needle part didn't bother me. And the mental part, just knowing that I was doing this as the best insurance policy for my future, I had such an easy time doing it. It wasn't a hard decision when I only got 9 eggs the first time to do it again. So when I did it the second time and then I only got 7, Dr. Gadir was like, well, you might want to consider doing it a third time. He's like, you know, 16's good. It's not great. It's not a ton, because those are just eggs. They're not fertilized embryos that have been genetically tested. So for me, it was something that I would never regret doing. It's money I would never regret spending.
And we still have them there.
I do. I highly recommend it to anyone. They say around 29 is like a good time to think about it. They have so many payment plans that you can do, and there's just so much good that could come out of this that I would never regret it. So I highly recommend it.
Here's the problem.
I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Listen, I don't have nearly the platform you have, at least especially on social, but I was doing this health routine and it involved like IVs and supplements and all this stuff. And there is some cost involved with what I was doing, but I was like, I'm going to lay out exactly what I'm doing because people were asking. I was like, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing, where it is. You can look up the cost. And I said, like, obviously some of these things come with some financial resource, but I want to be completely transparent in everything that I'm doing, right? Because that was the question. And inevitably there's a segment of people that'll chime in and say, well, this is unattainable. This is, like there's a cost, it's expensive, da, 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 da. And I was like, listen, do you want me to be fucking transparent or do you want me to tell you I drink lemon water? Because this is the problem. And if that was your experience where you went through it relatively easily and it was like, you should share that. You shouldn't alter your experience and lie to people to soothe a certain demographic that wants that soothing, right? Like, it's like, you want the truth or do you want me to just lie like everybody else does?
And I'm like, why wouldn't people want to know that this can be easy? It can be painless, doesn't have for some. Yeah. Whereas my best friend Ariana had a slightly different experience when she froze her eggs. And she got so many that she ended up getting, like, I forget what it's called exactly, but like overstimulation, whatever. And her recovery was much harder because she got so many eggs. I had to do it 2 times and I still got 10 less eggs than she got in 1 time. So everyone's experience is different, but I was just talking about mine. So I'm like, why would you want me to have a painful, bad experience with this?
Because that's welcome to the human race.
People should celebrate people that are telling the truth, even if it's not a truth that they agree with, right? Or that's popular. And if your experience was that it was relatively easy and painless for you, like, you should share that. You shouldn't go and be like, oh my God, it was miserable. And I mean, if you didn't, right? And same in the case.
But same as the case if it was miserable, share your experience.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just people would like to always. I feel like half of the following on the show that you get and that we get now is half of them are there for you. The other half are there just to pick at you. And you just gotta be able to navigate that and have the confidence that you're doing the right thing. And we don't need to look for other people's opinion or their approval for whatever we do. And if
the problem is if you might as well tell your truth, because if you lie, you're going to get crucified just the same.
Exactly.
And you'll get caught.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
You guys are a great couple. It's really nice to meet you both in person. I know I've met Brock before, but both of you together. And I also think, like, for me, when I watch these shows and then I meet the person in person, I've always noticed you end up, I've always liked you guys on the show, but you like them even more, which
thanks.
It's, again, that shows though that the producers are not showing the whole story.
It's tough. Like Sheana said, they got to tell everyone's input. How to explain everyone's.
And the show is for entertainment. It's not to tell our entire life story.
Right.
So I understand
YouTubers, come follow us on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Okay, so you guys have a podcast with Dear Media.
Yes.
You
Welcome.
have Homebodies.
You.
Tell us all about what you're working on together, how everything's jointed,
Yeah.
not disjointed.
So yeah, the podcast, new episodes every Friday. My vlog is out every Wednesday. We do some bonus things for Patreon, little exclusives here and there. And that with the baby keeps me pretty busy.
She helps me out a lot with my influencer outreach with Homebody. So we've built out a platform, live streaming platform. Been doing that for like the last year and a half, and we've really got some good traction coming up. So couple of big meetings, and then hopefully a really exciting charity launch. I want to do something in the community here for Pride, and I'm thinking of doing like a treadmill. Every mile we run on each treadmill, we donate $100 type thing, and then have like some actual live fitness classes throughout the day, and do like a 8-hour challenge. You get creators in there on the treadmills, going live and raising some money for awareness. I think we're going to call it Walk for Pride. Oh, Pride in Our Stride. That's what it's going to be called.
Michael will run. I'll volunteer him, and then you guys can go ice bath. Michael's getting good at the ice bath.
How good! Look, I love on the show. I tried to take James there because for me, ice bath there's no negatives to it. There's 0 negatives to it, and it's all. And then if you want to feel accomplished, jump in it, get out. Perfect. You accomplish that one. If you want to get the health benefits, get in there, better sleep, better heart, all of it. There's no negatives to it. How are you finding it then?
No, I love it. I mean, I think it's a whole. I mean, I think I'm addicted to it now, right? You become addicted to it.
What are you doing what are you using for an ice bath?
So we have, there's 2 now. There's this one called the plunge, and then there's another one called.
It's called the cold plunge. And you guys would love it.
It's
you
a one that you can like set the temperature down at like 38,
I'm going to send it
45.
to you because you guys.
I'm going to send you my setup.
You guys
picture.
should collaborate with them.
I
You can get it in your house. It looks like a really cute, chic bathtub.
I'll show it to you.
My rinky-dink setup is I have a deep freezer from the gym that I took home.
No.
And I hot mopped it and then I put water in it. And
that works too.
No.
It works.
After this, I'm going to connect you with the guy.
Okay, yeah, because I love it. Actually, I don't even fit in mine. Mine's like a 7.
Yeah, how do you fit in yours?
It's the funny thing.
I don't have that same problem.
I sit in it and she was like, babe, I was like, look, she's like, can I get a bigger one, honey? She's like, if you go in that every day for 14 days straight. So I was 5 days straight and I'm going away tonight. But when I come back, 9 more days and then we're going to
I'm going to text you a podcast on some protocols on it. And I'm also going to connect you with this company. This company would be a bunch of dumb shits, not to send you something. You're on there all the time.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. The cold plunge too, you guys can use code SKINNY. Before we go though, I have to ask you both this question.
Okay.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Post-baby. And you obviously look amazing, Brock too.
Thank you.
Can you give our audience a couple tips and tricks like to tighten up, lose weight, feel their best?
I'd love to. Go, honey.
My biggest one is now that I'm able to lift weights again. That's my favorite thing to do in the gym. I hate doing cardio. I also hate getting on specific diets. So if I still want to eat what I want to eat, then I know I need to get into the gym and I need to lift some weights.
That's a good tip. That weightlifting really helped me too.
Yeah, and he makes me lift heavier than I would want to. I also have a trainer, but when I work out with him, it's so funny because when I'm with my trainer, like I do so many exercises, I don't complain. We get through it. He says I'm his client who complains the least. When I work out with Brock, I'm like, why are you putting 20 more pounds on that? It's too heavy. But then I do it.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
You look good, honey. I think when it comes to fitness and get people to change, there's a lot to it. So keep it simple and just try and pick one thing and be consistent with that one thing. If it's walking, if it's something you don't do, just do one thing every day and that's it. And you can build up on that slowly.
What do? You got a routine going on.
I've got an oversized t-shirt on. That's what I got on right now.
No, but you take summer running almost every morning.
My new thing is, because I used to be an athlete, but then the last 2 years, very comfortable. And I think I got to my heaviest, even on the show. I was like, oh, damn, cameras do make you look real big. And so
much pressure.
Perfect. Yeah, I was like, perfect. But no, for me, I have my daily to-dos, and one of them's an ice bath. One of them's a 2-mile jog.
Okay.
It's a jog. I just got to complete 2 miles without stopping. That's my accomplishment.
Okay.
And then if I can get into a lift, I just lift everything always. Like
how many days a week?
Like 3 or 4 if I can.
Okay, so you guys are lifting the same.
You got to get the rest days in.
It's it, you know?
You got to do your 2-mile run.
Look, bro, we're working on our father figure. It's not a dad bod now. It's a father figure. That's what we're working on.
Well, you guys both look great. I'm going to message you after I give birth for some tips.
Yeah.
We'll be in LA. We'll be
I will not be filming 10 days after I give birth. That is,
nobody should.
You deserve a fucking medal.
Thank you.
Where's your Instagram handle? Pimp yourself out.
Everything is at Scheana, SCHEANA.
And it's Brock _ Davies. Yep.
We got
Thank you guys.
Underscore.
Thank you guys.
Double underscore.
Thank you both.
Thanks, guys.